welcome to the Tea and Crystals podcast. I am T.
And I'm Crystal.
Ladies and gentlemen, as always, we are so happy to have you all back with us for another episode of this here podcast. Now, we got a lot of good stuff to get into this week, but before we do, y'all know how I got to start the show. Crystal, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. I'm so glad to be home for the weekend. For those of you who don't know, I got a job in North Carolina. So it's not terribly far. It's like 4 hours away. And the show that I'm on tends to have weekends off. So I get to come home on the weekends. However, our very first week working, we did not have that weekend off. We actually worked through the weekend. And then I had one day off on Monday. So this was the first week. It's been 2 weeks now. Since I started that I've been able to come home, and I'm so happy. So happy to see my dog, so happy to see my mom, and I got to see my nephews soccer game. They both did amazing. They won. Yeah, I'm not quite ready to talk about my experience yet. These first 2 weeks in North Carolina, I need to digest it a little bit more. I'm not gonna lie, it was a bit of a rough start, and I was a little worried there. At some point, like there was a moment where I was just like, not just from the housing situation, but just also work in general. Like, I was just really worried for myself. Like I was afraid I wasn't living up to what people were expecting of me. But towards the end, things started to get better. I started getting more comfortable. I was finding my groove. So before I really get into it, I want to see how this next week goes to see if I'm there, if I'm like on that trajectory up, if that makes sense, before I start like unloading on everybody. So we're going to say that for the next episode, before we really get into it. But as a whole, I really enjoy the people I'm working with. It's a very small crew, so they're all awesome. They're amazing. In my department, the camera department, like everybody's been super, super helpful, very knowledgeable. I'm learning so much, which I'm so grateful for. Our DP is just a kick-ass woman, so I'm really excited to see more from her this show and just learn from everybody. So yeah, I'm going to hold off on any more in terms of North Carolina. But how about you? How have you been?
I've been well. Well, number one, I just want to say, I'm happy for you that you're there, and things are, you're gonna take this next week for what it is, and just go from there. But I'm just gonna say, I'm happy.
Thank you.
For you.
Yes.
If you can read between the lines.
I'm reading between the lines.
I'm well, girl. I'm a little tired today. As you saw before we started the show. Went out last night, which is why more than likely this episode will be out a day later than it usually comes out. Because we couldn't record. It was a good time. It was a busy day yesterday. When I say literally gone, from morning until wee hours of the morning. Like I was gone all day.
Dang. Like you were out. Like you were
girl,
out.
Because we had plans with friends and, stuff during the day. And then we went and did our own thing in the evening time. So it was a lot going on. It was a lot going on, but it was really fun. It was a really good time. But I do have to give you some highlights on some shit that happened.
Okay. I'm excited to hear this.
We went a couple places during the course of the evening. Stopped at a couple spots, but it was the first place that we went to. I think the first bar that we went to, was this place that I've been to before. I'm trying to put the night back together, honestly. I'm like, did we go? I'm trying
you don't get to bounce back like you did in your 20s.
Right. Because actually, we went to some friend's house, and then we went to do a date night thing at this place where it's like a pottery place, whatever. But then we ended up going to dinner after that, and then we ended up going to the bar. It was a whole bunch so I'm trying to put the chronological order of everything back together. Anyway, So we went to the first bar, and real cool spot. I've been there before, chilling, whatever, whatever. So we've been there for maybe they make some fantastic cocktails, high as hell, but cocktails are fantastic. Um, and I think I was in between my first and second drink, I think. Um, and I'm talking to my wife, and we've been there for a good while. When we first got there, it was like jumping, but it won't jumping. By this time, it was jumping, like
Okay.
people everywhere. And this is a small bar. So where we're sitting, it's like a section behind us, and then there's like a couple steps down, and then there's our section, right?
Okay.
And then the bar is directly behind me. So I can see like out the window into the next section.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking, and all of a sudden, there's this group of guys sitting kind of kitty cornered where I am to my right.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, I just hear, and I was like, what the fuck is that? Girl, I look, this man is projectile vomiting across the entire table, bitch.
Oh, no.
And I looked, like, as I heard the noise, and he has his hand over his mouth, and the throw up is spraying through his fingers in all directions, bitch. I swear to God.
No.
Throw up, just spraying everywhere, all across the table, and everybody in the bar is just like, oh my God, like, is he okay? So, girl, I guess at one point he couldn't hold the floodgates anymore, so he just let his hand go, and it just all across the table. I said, oh my God.
I know that feeling.
Girl, I don't know. It was only 10 o'clock. It was, why are you projectile vomiting across in the middle of the bar, a packed bar at 10 o'clock? Mm-hmm. You need to go home. You need to go home, and you need to wake up tomorrow, and you need to find a program. Right. Okay, because why are you this drunk at 10 o'clock? That's like 3, 4 a.m. kind of carrying on. We don't do that at 10. Bitch, the night just got started.
Yes.
I just got here. And you throw it up across the table anyway. His friends and stuff cleaned up most of it, and then the lady from the bar came over with her, sanitation suit and cleaned up the rest. Thank God.
And I'm a sympathizer. Like, I'll be like,
See, I usually thought I would get a little queasy, but I like kind of blocked it out of my head because I was like, if I get sick now, the whole night's over. The whole night is ruined. So I gotta stay calm. So we get back into our groove, whatever. So unbeknownst to me, there's people coming, people going, but I'm not really paying attention, right? And so I go to get my second drink. And when I come back, mind you, I hop down from the stool, turn around, take 3 steps, order my drink, turn around, and there's this girl talking to my wife. So I'm like, oh, what's going on here? So I sit down at the table, and I don't remember what she asked me first. I think she asked me if I've ever seen Sex in the City. No. She asked if my wife and I were on a date. Oh, like, if this was our first date. And we were like, oh no, we've been together for X years. Yeah. She was like, whoa, like what? And I was like, yeah, we've been together for X years. We've been on many dates. And then she was like, oh my God, have you ever seen Sex in the City? And I was like, yes. Like, where are we going with this? And she's like, oh my God, I just love. Fast forward in the conversation, she's asking us if we've seen The Office. She's asking me what our favorite character is and stuff. And I'm looking at this little girl, and I'm like, little bitch, can I help you? Like, right. What is going on here? So I asked her, we're on a date. Right. And she is, but I mean, we don't mind, right. Whatever, for the most part. Right. Because don't come up talking to me. So I'm asking her, because she was saying a lot of stuff, and I was like, you're very familiar with these shows. How many times have you seen them? She was like, oh, I've seen The Office like 3 times all the way through. Or maybe it was like 4 or 5 times all the way through in Sex and the City. And I was like, how old are you to have lived enough life to have seen this so many times? Because, bitch, that's a commitment. And she was like, "Oh my god, today is my birthday," and that's when I realized this bitch is almost blackout drunk. Like I thought she was chilling. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, she's like, yes, my 21st birthday, and I was like, get away from me, child.
Oh.
Get away from me. Get away from me. No, absolutely not. You are a child. And
You
so
are a child.
she's like, well, how old are you? And I was like, well, she asked my wife first, and then my wife said how old she was. And she was like, oh. And then she looked at me and she was like, well, how old are you? And I told her how old I was. And she was like, oh. I was like, she was like, so that means you're like a boomer. And I was like,
Little girl, go home.
oh, now we about to square
Goodbye.
up.
Goodbye.
I'm a boomer. I was like, no, ma'am.
I'm a boom you right out of this bar.
Talking about I was and I was like, no, we're millennials and we're the younger of the millennials. You know, I'm not on the cusp of Gen X. I mean Gen Z, but I'm closer than a lot of you girls. Okay. So she said, she was like, so that means like you're Gen X? And I was like, ma'am, no, XYZ. You're no. She said to her sister, because when she said she was 21, she whipped out her license for me to inspect it. And I was like, oh, I did not ask for that.
I didn't ask for this.
But it's, she said she was born in 2004. And I was like, oh my God. And she was like, yeah, my sister is born in 2006. And her sister was sitting beside her in the bar, bitch. I said, oh my God. And she's like, yeah, so that makes her like a Gen X. And I was like, ooh, baby. Okay, the way the alphabet works, I said this to her word for word. I was like, the way the alphabet works is X, Y, Z, A. She's A. Which I don't even know if A starts from 2006. I don't know when A starts from.
I don't know when that starts either, yeah.
But yes, that was that. It ended very nice with her. She was asking for suggestions for where to go. We told her this club that was down the way. But I told her, I was like, girl, they be smoking in there. It's gonna get real smoky. So if you don't want your clothes to get, to smell like smoke, the next thing, and then she was out a pack of cigarettes.
I was about to say, she was probably like,
to be like, boy, ain't nobody worried about that. And I was like, all right, you have a nice evening, ma'am. Yeah. So then, we go to a couple other places. A couple other things happen, little small things. Somebody ended up being taken away in an ambulance. Jump people on the street, all different type of shit. Then we get to our final destination, which is the McDonald's before we go home. Because, when you be drinking all night, you get hungry. Yeah. We walk into McDonald's. It's a man laid out across the table. And when I say not like head down, bitch, I'm talking about laid out across the table in the middle of the McDonald's. And I'm like, what is in the air tonight? Like it was something in the air that night. It was a lot of like 40s, 50s people.
I was about to say, I'm thinking it's older people who just haven't been out in a while.
Girl, I don't know what was going on, but it was a lot going on everywhere, right? So we're like, girl, I hope that man gonna make it. So we sit down eating our food and whatever. Next thing you know, I just hear something hit the ground. I look over. It's not the man that was laid out across the table. It's another man who went to sit down, who obviously was drunk as well, and slid right the hell out the seat, bitch. Bag and everything crossed the floor. He laid out. Luckily, somebody, because if it was up to me, bitch, he would have been there till today. Because I'm not going to help you out. But luckily, somebody else came over and picked him up and got him together and made sure, he ordered his food and whatever. But yeah, it was an adventurous evening last night, and I am tired today. Still trying to get myself together after the fact. But we were, from seeing somebody projectile vomit to being accosted by a Gen Z, I never thought. I used to be that person accosting, my older friends. Crystal knows personal experience. And now I'm in y'all position, and this shit is not cute. shit is not cute. I should have been nicer to y'all.
What
But
you're
yeah, it was
not
a good
going
time.
to do.
Right.
Um,
Bitch, and I told that story last night actually to some of our friends when we was all together at my wife's birthday party. And
it's
I
one of
was
my
like,
favorite
what you
stories. What you're
I saw
not
that
going to
story
do.
last night and they thought it was quite hilarious. But
That's
anyway,
so funny. I'm glad you
enough of my
guys.
ramblings.
Well, I'm glad you guys had a good time and that you got home safely.
Girl, okay? Because both of our legs actually almost gave out last night. We were holding each other up, not from being drunk, because we went home. We was cooling.
Yeah.
But we just walked. You know, we walked into the city, we walked all around the city, then we walked home from the city. So it was, yeah, our legs was wore out by the
I
time we
bet.
got back to the house. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you guys looked great. I think I saw a picture of you guys on your wife's
Oh, yeah, yeah,
timeline.
yeah.
And she just
Oh,
looked
yeah. That was from
beautiful.
New Year's actually. Yeah, that was from
Oh,
New Year's.
okay. Well,
Mm-hmm.
you guys looked beautiful. Okay, before we get started with our stories, just a couple of things.
Mm-hmm.
One, to my friend DJ, he sent me a story on Instagram. I'm going to save that for the next episode because I need to digest it a little bit. Okay, I need to digest it a little bit. Although after your story, I feel like this probably wouldn't have been the perfect episode, but let's not do too much. Let's not do too much in one
Okay,
episode.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I appreciate you, DJ. As always, continue sending that stuff to me. I love it. We'll catch you on the next episode. And then for number 2, I know we have not been putting out clips and stuff like that throughout the week. For any of y'all who have been noticing, our socials have been a little bit quiet because we did get the TikTok ban for about 12 hours before we got TikTok back. However, with the TikTok ban, we also got CapCut banned, which is the editing software that I primarily use for like 95% of the stuff that I edit, especially with the clips. But regardless of the fact that TikTok is no longer banned, CapCut for some reason still is. So I'm having trouble finding a replacement to be able to do the things that CapCut did with our clips. I think I found a workaround. It just takes a little longer, and with my work schedule, it's just been harder to find the time to make the clips like I used to. I'm hoping that we'll still be able to have clips. It might not be as frequently as before. It might, I don't know. But it also might look a little differently too, because we're going to be using a different editing software. We're going to have to use a different editing software until CapCut comes back, if it does. I've been struggling. I was struggling last week because it was making me mad.
And before we go on, also, I do want to mention, I need y'all to realize, and I want y'all to know, that our minisodes are actually brand new episodes. Like these stories, these are not like best of situations. I feel like some of y'all think that it's kind of a best of situation. No, these are brand new episodes, brand new stories, everything. They're just condensed versions for times where we really don't have time to sit down and record a full episode.
Like we're still recording. It's just we're not talking about our lives. We're not giving you like doing any celebrity nuggets
gossip
or
anything,
gossip or anything like that. It's just strictly stories and that's it. So you guys can at least get something for the week.
So y'all keep that in mind. When y'all see these minisodes, I'm about to stop labeling them minisodes for real. Y'all just gonna have to get these sort of episodes on some weeks, and I'm gonna have to explain it in the description because y'all be discriminating against our minisodes, and I don't like that. They are some quality entertainment. Okay, so if you have not seen the minisodes, if you have not listened to the minisodes, go back and watch and listen to them, please.
Yes, because they are brand new episodes. Yes, technically. All right, so we're moving on to the stories. I believe I will be starting. And mine is from the Am I the Asshole forum. And this is entitled, Am I the Asshole for Being Upset That My Husband Was Adamant on Going to a Football Game less than 24 hours after the birth of our child?
Oh, hell no.
My husband, 27 male, and myself, 26 female, have welcomed our beautiful new baby girl to the world on Monday evening just before midnight. She was 6 weeks early and will need 5 to 6 days support in the neonatal unit, with me being an inpatient with her. We have an almost 3-year-old at home. When I went into labor on Monday, we dropped my toddler off with my mom, who watched her overnight on the Monday night and all of Tuesday. On Tuesday evening, my mom was going to bring our toddler into the hospital at 6 p.m. for them to meet and for us to witness our children meeting for the first time. When I told my husband, he told me he needs to leave the hospital by 5 p.m. to make it in time for the football game. I told him he has a daughter tonight and he doesn't. Sorry. I told him he has his daughter tonight and don't know how he's going to manage to go to the game. He told me he assumed my mom would be watching our daughter and he would go to the game. I told him he is her father and we don't have any other options as I am in the hospital. He argued with me the day after a horrific labor, on and on and on, and continuously pushed the motion that he wanted to go to the game. I was in complete shock that he was willing to give up the opportunity to see his daughter after a few days and the opportunity to see his daughters meet each other and would rather be at a game than support me postnatal. For context, he is back at work today, Wednesday, and is now not off work until Saturday, and my mom is having our toddler for the next 4 days. My husband works 9 to 1. I feel awful for her watching her for this long, so assumed when my husband was available to take her for the evening, we would jump at the opportunity to give my parents a break rather than expect yet another night from her so my husband can go to a stupid random football game that is not important. I broke down and told him how hurt I was, and he stubbornly stuck to his point. I have been alone in this hospital bed all day. He texted me at 9 a.m. to ask who is collecting my daughter from nursery, asked how our baby was, and has not contacted me since. It's now 5 p.m. I feel robbed of some beautiful moments in my life and hurt from his actions and now just lonely. I don't think he genuinely sees my point of view at all. Am I the asshole?
So, okay, let me get this straight. So, she in the hospital alone because he left?
I guess so, yeah.
And he has not been in contact with her?
I don't know. I wouldn't say she's not been in contact with her. I think...
Because who hadn't she heard from since? Because she said something towards the end of the letter about not having heard from somebody.
Oh, like that day. Like, so this is like the next day when the football game is or something like that. So he's gone to work and he's texted throughout the day. At one point, well, he texted in the morning right before he was going to work or something like that. He was asking who was getting the daughter from the nursery and how the baby was, but then hasn't contacted her since. And it's now 5 p.m. when the game is, when he would have had to have left in time for the game.
So he just ghosted his wife to go to the game. I'm just trying to understand. What the hell his problem is. Like,
he left.
So he was like, "Hey, somebody got the baby, cool," and then turned his phone off and like, "Fuck her and that child, bitch. I'm going to the game."
I guess so.
Like, I had to clarify that because I am speechless. I'm like, what? Mm-hmm. So you had this. Okay, let me get this whole thing straight. Hold on. Before I say what I got to say.
Okay.
So, man, you had this baby early. You in the hospital. You and the baby barely making it. Your mama got your child. She was finna bring the child up to the hospital for all y'all to meet. But the mama was finna leave the baby there with y'all. And the daddy was finna take care of his child. Because the baby was only being March, so he could be there with you. But now the baby here. So you can watch your own baby. But he said, hey, hold on. Bitch, I got a game to get to. Now your mama can take this little bastard. And this baby got to be in the hospital anyway. And you ain't going nowhere. So I might as well go have me a good time. All my shit taken care of. You be all right. And he took his ass to work. Number one, which is crazy. You went to work the day after your child was born? That's wild. But the fact that you went to work, you sent the text in the morning, was like, hey, y'all gonna be all right? Cool. Do not disturb. And you went to the game? I just had to recap it for the audience so y'all understand like why I can't even formulate any words because as the woman, I would have laid in that hospital bed and I would have plotted how I'm gonna kill you. Like I'm plotting on, like, without having to Google too much. Like I'm gonna have to go to the library, steal somebody's library card, buzz in under their name, go in the library, read the book on fatal medicine. And find me a little mix in there, because that's how you girls get caught up. Y'all get online and stuff. Go to the library. Get in along with it. Go to the library, get you a book, bitch, pull it off the shelf. You don't even have to check it out, but read it in the librry.
You're gonna find you a corner without a camera at the airport.
Next time I'm about to say, bitch, I can help you get away with a crime. Look up in the ceiling, make sure ain't no cameras when you pull it off the shelf. Go find you a corner, put you a book up under it, and read. Find out how you get that man up out of here. Cause ain't no fucking what. Well, you know what? Actually, no, you need him alive. Cause now you got 2 kids. You need him alive.
All right, just divorce him.
No, I'm trying to think of a creative way. You caught me because I was like, I'm trying not to say divorce them, because they be like,
I was about to say,
everybody just get divorced. And I was like, girl,
I was about to say, she's gonna have to play the long game. She's gonna have to put a life insurance policy out on him, a nice big one. But she can't do it right away because it can't be suspicious. They can't be like, well, didn't you just get a life insurance policy on him like a month ago? And now he's dead? No, you're going to have to play the law game.
Yeah. You're going to have to find a way. No, because you don't want to give him primary custody of the kids either. Because, I mean, if he's doing this while he's around, I can't imagine what he's going to do when you're not around, and he can just do whatever he want with them kids. He ain't never going to see them babies. Them babies going to be at his new girlfriend house, his new girlfriend and mama house all the time, so he can go to all the games. Yeah, girl, when it come down to it, I mean, I guess it's up to you. It's up to you how far you want to take it. I mean, either you could put up with it or you can get the fuck on somewhere. I mean, it's hard out here in the dating world with 2 kids, especially a brand new one, girl. I don't know what your chances are like of finding another man that's going to take care of you and the children. In this economy, good luck. That's like taking on a house in the middle of foreclosure, bitch.
She did give us a small update, I think, from the same day. She put an edit. She said, no, he did not end up going to the game. I told him my parents couldn't have our toddler overnight and there was no option. He huffed, said fine, and canceled with his friend who he had planned to go with. This was after he tried to schedule for another very distant family member of his to have our toddler. But that didn't work out, as I told him I would never forgive him if he stopped me being able to witness our children meet. He'd need to leave the hospital at 5 p.m. to get to the game, and my mom wasn't turning up with our toddler until after 6. My husband left the room when my mom was in the hospital with me, and I broke down to her and briefly explained to her. I said I felt like it was some sort of joke. She replied, was he joking? And I said, no, he was deadly serious. He then walked in the room, and we didn't mention it again. My parents left the hospital, and then my husband and toddler left shortly after. He didn't say anything to me, just left me here. I feel so abandoned, and I'm sitting waiting on an apology that I fear will never come.
Girl, you ain't getting that apology. No, he don't see that he did anything wrong.
No,
you have inconvenienced him by giving birth early. Okay, yes. He had this game scheduled, girl, and you and that baby are an inconvenience. Okay, now you take that how you want to. Whatever you decide to do about it is what you decide to do about it. But when the documentary comes out, do not mention this podcast, bitch, because I was just playing. Don't kill that man. I don't want no legal troubles. Okay. Do I need to say allegedly here? Is this where we interject allegedly? Allegedly, girl. You should allegedly kill that man. No, I'm just stop. Okay, well, thank you for that, Crystal. If you don't mind, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back after this message. Ladies and gentlemen, T here. I hope you're enjoying the show so far. Listen, we need you to do us a solid. We need you to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening. Share what you love about this here podcast and help spread the word about this hidden gem. If you have any stories that you'd like to share with us or anything that you would like for us to share on the show, please do so by sending it to our email, which is in the description for you below, or in any of our DMs on our various social media platforms. Now, let's get back to the show. And we are back. Ladies and gentlemen, let's keep going. Crystal, I have a story for you from the subreddit r/am I the asshole as well, and it is entitled "Am I the asshole for leaving a family gathering and taking the cake with me after getting my feelings hurt?"
Ooh.
Relatable content. Ow. It says, I, 27-year-old female, hit 1 year sober from alcohol at the beginning of this year. This was a huge accomplishment for me. It was bigger to me than finishing college. I told my family the next time we get together for a family dinner, I had something to celebrate. This all happened at my mom's. The kids were playing and the adults were hanging out. I took a moment to share that I'd reached 1 year sober and how good I felt about it. They went, "Oh, that's what you were talking about? It's been a year already?" I am embarrassed to admit, but I hoped someone would say that they were proud of me. My brother in law, Steve, looked at my sister and they both said, "Well," at the same time. And she said, "Since we're all here," insert niece's name here, "just got into a specific gymnastics thing. It's been a long road, but she did it." Steve popped some wine they'd bought and started giving everyone glasses and cups. He made eye contact with me and his face fell. I had this gnawing feeling, so got up from the table and I took a walk. I tried to get through the moment mentally so I could be present for my niece to celebrate her success, but when I got back to the house, my sister asked me why I left without saying anything. I said I needed a minute to myself. She looked at me funny and said, "Okay." I said I'd shared something that I was very proud of, and she bulldozed over it. My mom put her hand up and asked me what my news was. I said that I had already told them. I hit 1 year sober. My mom said my generation is always wanting to be praised for doing the bare minimum and that it wasn't an accomplishment, it was just something that I needed to do, like graduating high school. I tried to make it through the dinner, but found myself just not in the mood anymore, so I decided to go home. Here is a direct thing that I am being called a butthead for. I bought a small berry chantilly cake. I don't know what a berry chantilly cake is, but that shit sounds good. She
I never.
said, I ain't never heard of it before. She said it's her favorite, and she bought it so she could share it after dinner. It was a thing that I decided I earned. The kids had definitely seen it. On my way out, I decided to take it home with me. I guess when they realized that the cake wasn't in the garage fridge anymore, my sister called to ask me why I took it. I said I did because it was my cake to celebrate my accomplishment. She said, word for word, "Are you fucking serious? Oh my God, Emma, grow up. You are such a fucking baby." My mom later texted me directly to tell me how disappointed she was that I threw a tantrum because my niece got more attention than me. I don't think her read of what happened is right, but that is why I'm asking you guys, am I the asshole because I took home the cake in the end? Was that really childish of me considering the kids saw it and then they didn't get any? As I was putting on my shoes to leave, Steve found me and directly apologized and said that he was completely oblivious in the moment. I know that he did not do anything to intentionally hurt me. So, am I the asshole?
I am. I I think I would spin it a little bit on the sister and be like, if you're so proud of your child's accomplishment, why didn't you get her something to celebrate her instead of bringing a bottle of wine that she could not have?
And there it is. And there it is.
That's that's strange to me.
Because if I
You're
didn't bring this cake, then what?
then what? If I hadn't brought this cake for my accomplishment, the celebration would have just been a verbal celebration for your child, plus the wine that you guys got for you guys. Like,
I wonder where I got my drinking problem from.
right. So crazy to me. The way I would have very low contact with that family, like very low contact. These are the kind of people who will never understand. They will never see themselves as like the villain, I guess is the best way to
Yeah.
describe it. Like it's about them and nothing else. Because you should be proud of your accomplishment. That is a huge accomplishment. I am proud of you. I don't know you, but I am super proud of you. And I'm hoping you're able to continue with that because it's not an easy thing. If you're someone who's a drinker, um, if you have any sort of addiction to it or whatever, or if it's just something that's been got out of hand, it is very difficult to quit that and maintain that for any period of time, let alone a year. That's a long time. I mean, I'm assuming you've gone out with friends and you've celebrated things and you were able to stay committed to, you know, this goal that you were trying to get to. And I'm sorry your family didn't recognize that because that's a huge accomplishment. um I have so many things I want to say, but I'm like so
She's,
mad at this family. Like
I know, right?
it's
They
so
did that. They did
rude.
her dirty.
And I understand that the brother-in-law came in and was like, you know, I'm sorry. I appreciate that. I truly do. But at the end of the day, you saw and heard how my family treated me and no one else stuck up for me. Like no one stuck up for me. No one was like, "Hey y'all, like that's not cool. Like this is actually a really great accomplishment." So you're not off the hook either. I don't like you either.
And
I'm
it's the
sorry.
fact that she told them what her thing was, and it didn't even register
It
for them.
they were
Like the
just
mama say,
like,
"So what's the thing that you had to tell us?"
"What is
Like,
it?"
God
And then
damn.
it felt like, oh well, you said something, so we're gonna bring something up to share as an, like I really was thinking the sister was gonna be like, so anyways, we're pregnant, because
Girl,
that
yeah.
it felt like I had to find a moment to take it off of you. And I don't
Mm,
even know why, because nobody was even being celebratory to this girl anyways.
yeah.
um yeah, very weird. I would be very low
Now,
contact. This
you
is
know how I
not.
like to stir the pot, girl. To play the devil's advocate in
Mm-hmm.
this situation, right? What if the sister was planning on bringing that up anyway? Because you know it's the
Mm-hmm.
family dinner. So if you ain't
Yeah.
seen people in a while, you know people are gonna go around and share their
And
little
to
things
give,
and
yeah.
whatever. So the sister may have saw that as an opportunity to be like, oh, okay, we're sharing things. Let me share this
Yeah.
thing. And the sister who was sober took offense to it
Yeah.
because nobody reacted the
Reacted
way
to
that she
her
wanted
news.
them to react
Mm-hmm.
to it. So I could see why the sister would be like, damn, bitch, I ain't did nothing to you. Like, I was just sharing too. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I could see
I
it from
get
her
that.
perspective. But once your sister expressed it to you, that's where you fucked up in my eyes. Cause I could
Yeah.
see being totally oblivious, like the brother-in-law said. I could see
Mm-hmm.
me doing the same thing, being oblivious to the thing. I mean, I would have congratulated them,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you know, I don't think I would have clocked it in real time on something like that if you
Yeah.
didn't if you didn't. I don't know. I wouldn't have missed congratulating
I
them.
get,
I think
yeah.
that was the first fault of the family. But once that
Mm-hmm.
happened, you know, that's separate and away from the sister
Mm-hmm.
giving her news.
Yeah.
You know, because even OP is like, I know they won't trying to upstage me, but it's
Right.
just the fact that nobody gave a damn. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I see what you're saying, and you're probably right, but
Hmm.
still fuck the sister. I don't like her. I don't like
Yeah,
her.
I'm with you, girl. I'm with you
Don't.
because of the way that the sister reacted once she told
Mm-hmm.
her sister, like, "Oh, well, this is why I left, girl." Like, and this was
Right.
like, "Oh, bitch, get a girl," and I was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
not
invalidating.
you."
That's my biggest thing. It's the
Yeah,
invalidation of my feelings. Like you were asking me this and I'm telling you what you guys did hurt me,
yeah.
and instead of being like my bad, it wasn't intentional, like I wish you wouldn't have taken the cake because the kid's seen it, like done something like that. No, your
Hmm.
instinct is to further put her down,
Yeah.
is to continue to invalidate what she's feeling. I
Yeah.
hate it when people do that.
Yeah.
I've been on the receiving end of that type of, honestly, manipulation, like emotional manipulation, because that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't think she should feel this way, so you're trying to tell her, like, stop, like,
Yep.
you're being a
You're not
baby,
allowed.
you're not
Mm-hmm.
allowed to feel this way. I hate that.
Yeah.
um
Kudos to OP for advocating for
yes.
herself, because she did
Hmm.
everything she was supposed to do in this
She
situation.
did.
She stood up for
And she
herself.
did.
She
She,
communicated like what it was, and now you
yes.
can really make that decision of, oh bitch, okay, I can't fuck with y'all no more because I
No.
did my
Yeah.
part, and y'all
Right.
you spit in my face and told me you don't
Yes.
care. So guess what? It is
And
what it is from now on.
I hope you enjoyed that cake. I hope you
Girl,
I hope you just took a fork and just went for it.
I hope you ate it with your toes, bitch. I don't care as long as you enjoyed it, girl. I
You
don't
enjoyed it.
care.
All right,
Uh,
not the asshole. We're gonna move on to our next section. We have an update, y'all,
ooh, we got an update.
with one of our sip and spill stories. For anyone who doesn't know, our sip and spill stories are stories that we get directly from our audiences. So back in, I want to believe, if I looked it up and remember correctly, it was actually episode 23. We had the sip and spill story. Timmy was the one who actually read the story, but I opened up the email and saw it, and I was like, damn. I didn't remember which one of us read this story. So when I went back to look and I saw it was Timmy, I was like, well, I guess I'm going to have to do the update because I'm the one who saw it. So he hasn't seen this update. But the initial story was about a young pregnant woman who had wanted her brother to name her daughter, and he chose the name Scarlet uh, just because it reminded him of, like, I think, like the velvet seats of his first car or one of his favorite cars or something like that. And she thought it was a beautiful name. And so when she announced to the family that, she wanted to name her daughter Scarlet because that's the name her brother chose, she found out that one of her stepsisters had twins that were stillborn, and one of the twins was named Scarlet. And so it wasn't the stepsister who had the child that brought up that fact and was making a big deal. It was other people around the situation who were upset with her wanting to remain having this name. She herself did not have that much of a relationship. I think this was a fairly new, like, merging of families. So while she had good relationships with the mother and one of the stepdaughters, I don't know about the one that gave birth. I don't know what, but she didn't really know them like that. Like, it's not like they grew up together. But she came to us. She wanted to know, should she keep the name or not? She was being conflicted because she really wanted to keep the name because her brother chose it. So that was a while ago, episode
and I
23.
don't
We're on
remember what I
62.
said.
I know, I had
I
to
don't
go back
remember.
and read it too. I think we essentially said, like, there's a lot of names out there, like, kind of, I said, like, I understand if you want to keep it, but at the end of the day, like, me personally, I wouldn't have, because there are family members who would be conflicted with it. And at the end of the day, like, your brother, if it's a name by your brother, it's going to be special regardless. You don't have to have that specific name. It could be any name, but because
Yeah.
it's from your brother, that's what's going to make it special. And you were like, I'm going to have to go against you a little bit. You were like, I don't think you should name the baby this. Like,
Mm.
there's other names and that not rhymes with that associate with red that you can name this child that isn't this one that is directly in the family already from someone who miscarried, because you yourself has had people in your life where this had happened, and you wouldn't be able to, you can understand why having that name and hearing that name after already knowing someone, even though they passed before you really
Yeah.
knew them, you knew and loved
Mm.
them anyways. That's kind of where
Yeah.
we stood.
Yeah, girl. Thank you
So
for that. Because I
you're
was there, but I was like, I don't want to say it because I don't want to
It's
contradict
so
myself.
long ago.
But yeah,
I
yeah,
know, I
yeah.
had to go back and read. Like, I had my initial thoughts when I first was watching, but I was like, what did I think? And then I was like, oh, okay, no, that's what I thought. All right,
Okay.
so it's a small one. It's a small update. But this was the Emma the Asshole, and she says, "Hi, it's been quite some time, and I honestly have had so much happening after reaching out to you guys that I forgot to send an update after my baby was born. But to say the least, your advice helped me a lot in my decision of changing my baby's name. I had actually picked quite a few different names, and my brother surprised me with a new, unique name for her. She was born, I'm not going to say when, but she was born and was 7 pounds 13 ounces. I was rushed to the hospital to have her unexpectedly on her exact due date. She definitely does not look like a Scarlet, which is, I think, a point I brought up was that, you don't know. She might be bored and you might look at her and be like, you know what? You're
Yeah.
not a Scarlet. And then she says, but now I am pleased to introduce you to, I'm only going to say the first name. So her new name, her brother came up with was Emiliana.
Oh, that is
It's
beautiful.
beautiful. And if you go to our
Mm.
email under the fan email, she included some pictures of her, and she is
Oh,
gorgeous,
wait. Okay, let me go look now.
beautiful, the sweetest face. I think her name
Oh,
suits her beautifully. I think you did right. And yeah, I think her name that you chose, it suits her way more than Scarlett would have.
oh
She's gorgeous.
my God. Y'all, stop. This is, oh my goodness. This,
She's beautiful.
look at this little chunk. Oh my God. Thank you so much for giving us this update. This
Yes.
is y'all, okay. Y'all did a good job. That is an
Mm-hmm.
adorable little baby, and that
Mm-hmm.
name, I'm seeing the name
The
that you
full
shared
name.
now. That is gorgeous.
I love it.
Okay, and that birthday month, absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, yeah. That's my wife's birthday month, so you already know
Mm-hmm.
what type of time they
Yes.
on. Oh my God.
Those
Wow,
eyes.
Crystal. Oh my
Those
God, Crystal.
eyes.
I just love thank you for updating us. I'm telling
Yes.
y'all, here at the Tea and Crystals podcast, we can give y'all some advice that'll really help y'all lives. I'm telling y'all,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, we be a little brash in the way that we give out the advice. However, the advice most of the time is valid.
Mm-hmm.
At least, that's what I think. Y'all cuss me out one time because, someone said it, but, for the most part, this should be valid. So, listener, I'm not gonna say your name because I don't want to put your business out there, but we are so glad that we can help you, and I think you made the absolute right decision. And the baby actually looks like their name.
Mm-hmm. I
So
agree.
yeah, shout out to you. Shout out to you,
Shout out to you.
girl. Just made my night. I know that's right.
Yes. Thank you so much for that update. I'll definitely be emailing you back.
Yes.
And for anyone else,
Mhm.
like we've said before, if you want to share a story or you need advice about something, hit up our DMs, hit up our email address. We are more than happy to share whatever you would like us to share. So,
Yeah.
moving on
Shout
to our
out to
next
you.
stories.
All right, I got one for you, Crystal, that's coming from r/ Am I the Asshole? And it is entitled Am I the Asshole for Gossiping with My Mom about my brother's fiance is potentially lying about giving birth. There are some grammatical errors in here, so it's
Okay.
going. We're in for a ride. It was
Okay.
already in the title, and they're also. I think they're British, so it's a little
Mm-hmm.
ish. So
You're going to get us in trouble.
I'm going to do my best. I 22-year-old female have an older brother, John, 32-year-old male, who has been with his fiance, 30-year-old female Jane, for 4 years. They have a 4-month-old. Jane found out she was pregnant at 5.5 weeks and immediately called my mom to tell her. Mom was confused. I'm gonna have to change mom to mom. I can't do
It's
mom.
okay.
I'm
I
sorry.
my last story was like that too. Not the update, but
Okay,
the
and you
one before that
changed
was
it.
mum. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to change the mums to moms, y'all. I'm sorry. Mom was confused, but still very excited. Jane said that she was going to tell John when he got back from his work trip. A few hours later, she called again, sobbing, saying that she has insatiable cravings. Mom made a joke like, "Isn't it a bit early for cravings?" And Jane went off on her. She started yelling about how this is her pregnancy and no one else's. It was an odd reaction, so she apologized for her outburst by blaming it on hormones. When Crystal, if you're watching the podcast, you see where I'm laughing. If you're listening to it, go watch this section because Crystal's faces are killing me. Okay. When my brother returned from his trip, him and Jane left to stay at her mother's, and we didn't see her until after the baby was born. John said this was because Jane was afraid of losing the pregnancy and wanted to be with her mom, and we needed to respect boundaries. Whenever someone would ask about Jane or the baby, they would shut it down with vague answers like, every pregnancy is different, or she's carrying small, which isn't unusual. They barely shared anything about the pregnancy. No ultrasound pictures, no baby shower, and Jane didn't want anyone around during the delivery. I also discovered that every craving she listed came from one article about pregnancy cravings. She even listed multiple items in the same order as the article. When the baby was born, we were finally allowed to see Jane and John and the baby, of course. It was very bittersweet as we all wish we could have been there for Jane to help out, but Jane and John both reassured us that we did help out by staying away during the pregnancy. The weirdest part, though, is how Jane describes the birth. She claims that she had an epidural via an IV drip into her hand. Edited because I didn't elaborate, which is not how those are administered. When I asked clarifying questions, thinking she had gotten confused, which was understandable, she shut down and refused to answer, like how she would during the pregnancy. She said the baby had latching issues because he was born with no umbilical cord stump. This can technically happen, but it's rare and a fatal medical condition that their baby certainly does not have. The final straw was when she told us that the baby basically fell out of her within an hour of being in labor. Despite my brother telling us how hard the birth was and even stating that was and even stating that they were not going to try for more kids. Mom is on the same side as me and has been noting the inconsistencies and inaccuracies, but doesn't know how to bring it up, and their reactions don't help. A few days ago, my brother texted mom saying her doubt of Jane is disrespectful, and they both want full apologies from the both of us for bullying Jane during her pregnancy/labor. I haven't made any outright accusations about it, nor have I said anything of this to Jane. I've only asked questions when she brings the birth/pregnancy up. So, am I the asshole for having doubts?
Girl, I'm having doubts.
Right.
I'm going to say, I think one of two things happened. I think one, either Jane had a surrogate and she didn't want you guys to know for whatever reason. I don't know if maybe you guys are, or her family or someone in there is like religious and is against surrogacy or something, or if she feel embarrassed about the fact that she herself couldn't carry her own child, or maybe it was vain, like she didn't want to carry a child because she didn't want her body to change like that, but she didn't want to say that, so she made up this whole actual being pregnancy because I mean there's a baby here, or y'all need to check the news to make sure there isn't a mother out there that is missing and or has been murdered and their child has been stolen from them, because these are the only two possibilities I believe. Because that lady does not sound like she had a child, like personally, like she does not sound like she carried the child and gave birth to the baby, because what,
Girl,
I know it, an epidural through your hand. I know there's a lot of women out there going, the fuck? My back issues. I could have had a hand issue instead. Like,
right.
That's
nuts.
That's nuts. I think you just need to let this one go. Personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Give the apologies. Cause you and your mom know this lady did not have this baby. Okay. But this is the roost they want to go with. And if you
Yep.
would like to be in your nephew's life and you don't want there to be, just give it up. Just let him have it. Let him have it. This is not a
No,
hill you need to die on.
literally.
I'm so sorry that you took offense, that what I said was offensive. Your pregnancy was your pregnancy. You did it the way you decided. And we're going to move on from the situation and just enjoy the fact that we have a new child in the family to celebrate and leave it at that.
Yeah.
And when you and your mother are on your own, y'all can be there sipping your tea like, what the
Was that like, yeah, y'all finna come up missing like that baby's real mom. So I would girl, I would tread real lightly if I was y'all. I'm not gonna lie.
You're about to be a Lifetime movie waiting to happen. Ripped from the headlines.
Right. Leave that baby, that lady and her runaway baby alone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And if your brother is playing along with it, all right, y'all got it.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I didn't know. No disrespect. I swear, oh God, I didn't mean nothing by it.
No.
Reddit actually found OP to be the asshole in this situation.
Stop it.
Crystal, they found OP to be the asshole. And I think, because I was reading some of the comments, girl, and they were saying, a lot of people were like, yeah, it don't make sense, but you shouldn't be asking no questions. You just need to enjoy the fact that you have a niece and nephew and leave them alone. Essentially saying they were low key saying, yeah, it sounds like she had a surrogate. How and ever, like, you clocking that and asking these questions is like surrogate shaming her. I was like, okay, that's a stretch. That's a stretch. But enough people agreed to call her the asshole.
It would be surrogate shaming if she had admitted she had a surrogate and you were like, you're not a real woman for having a surrogate. Like, stuff like that.
Right.
This lady is not claiming she had a surrogacy. You know what? I'm not gonna argue with you, Reddit. We're just gonna have to be the assholes on this one too, because on the one hand, I am with y'all. I'm saying the same thing. Just let it go. Let it go. But let's be real here. Let's be real. For anyone who had been in this situation, you would be asking the same questions and be wondering the same things. And you wouldn't have stopped until your brother had probably been like, you know what? I feel offended by this and I expect an apology before we move forward. And that's when you would have been like, all right, maybe I need to just let this go or whatever.
Now, I'm not going to lie, right? In my family, we... except for one of my family members, because she would have asked straight up. She would have been the one to get to the bottom of things and ruin the whole relationship for the family.
Right.
But most of my family, we probably would have not even asked those questions. More than likely. We wouldn't have asked them because it's kind of like, it's a little bit too much me and you. I'm in your business. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But we definitely, as soon as you pulled up out the parking lot, bitch, girl, okay, that ain't Cheryl baby. Is it? Like, that's Cheryl got somebody baby in her back seat. Like, what's going on? Like, do we need to? No, we not okay. All right. If y'all say we ain't calling nobody, we ain't calling nobody. That baby just gonna be, in
the family.
Cheryl's baby. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be Cheryl's baby. But I know in my personal my personal situation, I wouldn't ask those questions, but I would have been gossiping and I would have been wondering, but they never would have known that I was doing either.
But to be fair, some of those questions are logical questions, like asking about the birth and then hearing these details and being like, that's not really how that works. Like, you, in the moment, you might inadvertently ask these questions because they don't make sense. Maybe you should have stopped sooner, like read the room, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Because after a while, when people start lying to you, you got to start giving them that's crazy.
Yeah, that's... an epidural in your hand. That's new.
Ooh, I'll have to... Yeah, I ain't heard that.
I'll have to see if I can get one of those when I'm pregnant one day.
Yeah, because that's a medical revolution for real.
That's crazy.
So who
So
the baby look
anyways.
like? Uh, I think I heard my oven at home. I think I left it on. My ring doorbell going off. I gotta go.
I got to go. I got
I
a
gotta go.
package that I have been meaning to get to, and I do not want to
I
leave it on
heard
my porch.
gas
I
was
gotta
going
go.
up at 3:00. I gotta get out of here. Fill my tank up before I go home. Like, bitch, hell no. Mm-mm. God bless it.
Well, I'm gonna say not the asshole. I'm gonna say
Yeah, I'm with you.
I know that you were deemed the asshole, and we are right there with you, I guess, in a way. But not in my perspective, you weren't the asshole.
Mm-mm.
You would be the asshole if you don't let it go.
Yes. If you
Now
keep
that
going
now
with
that
it.
now that they've told you how they felt, or at least your brother, you would be the asshole if you continued.
Yeah.
Like I said, leave it alone. Just give the apology and move on. All right. I think we should end it there. I think we've had a
Okay,
good
girl.
time.
Yes, absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as always, we are so happy that you all joined us for another episode of this here podcast. I'm not scrolling looking for my outro right now. What
You
in
would
the
think
hell?
after 60 plus
No.
episode he would just have that
Okay.
memorized.
You know what? I'm just gonna go off on the rant now because Apple, y'all done pissed me off. What the fuck is this new gallery? What is this? I
Mm-hmm.
can't find anything. Like, what has anybody else in the newer phones? I don't know if it's the newer phones or if it's the new update.
Mm-hmm.
Has anybody else been having these troubles with the photo app? Like,
I
I'm
think
going in here. They giving me like all type of shit except for what I want. Bitch, I just want my
yeah.
out. Where are my favorites?
I don't think you're alone in this, at least in terms like my mom, she has like a Samsung or something like that. And they just had some sort of update. And now she's struggling to even change the ringtone. And she tried to give it to my brother to get him to do it. And even he was having trouble with it. So phones in general, I think they going through something. I don't know.
Yeah, girl. Like, okay, I found it now. But Apple, y'all, I just
Right.
want to let y'all piss me off with this. Hell.
You can only make it up to us by sponsoring us. Thanks.
Hey, because if y'all need me to sell an iPhone, bitch, I'll do it. Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you all, and thank you, Crystal, for joining us for another episode of the Tea and Crystals podcast. If you like what you heard, please leave us a 5-star review. Make sure you leave it a written review as well on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening. If you like what you saw, make sure that you like, comment, share, and subscribe on the YouTube. Come join the YouTube community. It's a great community over there. If you have any questions, comments, or you would like to share your own story with us or something that you saw, you can do so in our DMs or you can send it to us like our listener did in this episode to our email at tandcrystal@gmail.com. That's TEAANDCRYSTAL@gmail.com. Subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Facebook by searching Tea and Crystals Podcast. Follow us on TikTok. We still over there. We're still over there, girl. TikTok survives another day. We'll see for how long. At Tea and Crystals Podcast. And on Instagram at Tea and Crystals Pod. And make sure you look in the description wherever you are listening or watching for all of those links. Now, Crystal, is there anything else you want to say to the people before we get the hell up out of her?
Yeah, if you guys have any suggestions for other editing apps that you really enjoy, hit the comment section. Let me know what you're thinking. And as always, we thank you so much for joining us. And I can't wait to get into more stuff with you guys on the next episode. So we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye, y'all.